What's up, guys? So I want to talk about Creed's Royal Oud today, and obviously not a novel review, but I want to give you my take on this because this makes a lot of people's top Creed lists. But my thing is, if you're gonna spend, it's quite an expensive fragrance. So if you're gonna spend like a couple $100s, then you better really, really like it. So let's evaluate the scent, and I'll tell you reasons why you might, reconsider. You might not want to buy it because it's a lot of money. Retail, the 100 ml goes for $525, which is insane. And I don't think any fragrance is worth that money. And of course, we're not, most of us are not buying it at retail price, but there are people who are paying that, who are not in the community and don't know that you can get it for cheaper. And so that's what they're marketing it as. And let's see if it's really worth that money. Of course, the price is relative, right? So if everything else is, more expensive, then this might be worth that money. But as of, what's on the market now, I do think it's quite expensive. So Royal Oud. So what does it smell like? It's a very nice scent. I mean, basically, there's a reason why a lot of people love it. For me, I'm not sure that it wows me. And that's one of the things, it doesn't have this wow factor that some other fragrances have. And I think that's because of the types of notes that are in here. There's no kind of explosive freshness or anything like that. There's not so much of a citrus top. So essentially, you get this creamy, woody, and a lot of people do say spicy, and I agree with that. There's a kind of an earthy, spicy element, a warm and somewhat cozy feeling fragrance. And the real kind of strength of this fragrance is that it is, of course, oriental, but it is quite fresh and wearable. And so that's what they set out to do, and they achieved that. I've been wearing it in the summer and it's been totally fine. Thing is that it's a little bit still, a bit too warm and sweet maybe for the hottest of days, but overall it's a pretty versatile scent. So that's one, good thing going for this. So now, what I get most out of the scent is actually this kind of rooty smell, and in fact it reminded me, before I looked at the notes or anything like that, it just reminded me of root beer. The sense that you get from root beer, there's a little bit of a scent, but of course there's the taste. And this has a little bit of that because there are, the top notes create a kind of a fizzy element. And then, you have this overall very creamy quality, and it's sweet. Right, so when you put those things together, it's a little bit like a soda, but with a darker taste to it, like root beer. And this interestingly has a note of angelica root in the heart. And when I saw that, the fragrance that I thought of right away was Prada's Luna Rosa Black, which is an intriguing blend as well. It's pretty unique, I think, and that utilizes angelica root. And it's interesting that it has also a similar scent profile, in my opinion. That one is also quite wearable, but it has this dark quality, and I think it's coming from this angelica root, because I do get a resemblance, of that quality. Of course, this smells different, but it sort of achieves the same feel. And so you get this kind of darkness, and that's where I think you get a little bit of the earthiness. But of course, as it's named Royal Oud, there is oud in here. A lot of people say this smells predominantly of cedar and that they don't get any oud, or barely any oud. Actually, for me, a lot of cedar that I've come across is a lot fresher and cleaner, but I don't get that type of cedar here. There's definitely a strong woody backbone, but in here it's a little bit, it's definitely denser. It's a little bit more bitter, and like I said, it's overall there's a darkness to the scent, despite being wearable. You see what I mean if you smell it. This kind of bitter essence, and I think that's where, you know, the oud is coming into play. The oud has, you know, sometimes can give off this sort of rich but inky kind of, not stink to the point of stinky, but a little bit like an inky dark quality, and that's what I do pick up on here. And so it's a you know 50-50 blend of that with cedar for me. And I keep referencing this creamy aspect, and there's a good dose of sandalwood in here as well that you can pick up if you've smelled a lot of sandalwood scents. You know, sandalwood adds a sort of, to me, often a nutty sort of quality, and that is similar to the bitter part that's coming from the oud in here. So there's a nutty yet slightly milky, creamy quality, and that's sort of, I think, what's giving this fragrance an overall posh feel. Speaking of which, I think a lot of people sort of overplay the luxurious feel of this fragrance, and that's because, you know, I think there are a lot of scents that you know give off a luxurious feel, but I think we are influenced a little bit by the price, the naming, and overall this exclusivity, right? You know, this is more expensive than other creeds, and so, you know, having something like this sort of feels regal even before you even smell it. So, you know, I think there's a little bit of that playing in, but it is a very smooth and classy type of scent, and that's where people are saying it really smells like you know, you're $1,000,000. So let's talk about a few downsides. The first one is that it's a little bit mature smelling for me. You know, I do like a lot of mature type scents. If you look at my videos, you can tell, you know, that my taste is generally a little bit more mature. I don't like sweet fragrances. I like things like Acqua di Parma Sandalo, which I reviewed recently. Like, those are quite mature feeling scents, but there's something about this that's a little bit, I think, because it feels a little bit more formal and refined, and it's smooth and elegant, which are all good things, but it makes this a little bit more mature for me, where it will work on most people, but I think it's ideal for a man, you know, rich man who's 40 and up. Just a very put together kind of person, and it's sort of has a bit of a formal feel to it that's a little bit stuffy for me. And so I think it's not one that I would reach for all too often because of that, not because of the price. And the second aspect, and probably the one that's most important to me, is that this is a little bit of the scent profile is kind of subdued. It's a soft projector. I mean, it does last a long time, and it lasts all day long. I do pick up on it, you know, just from myself wearing it, but I notice, you know, it doesn't really reach other people very far. I mean, my girlfriend could only smell it like if I asked her to, and I you know, put her face close to the scent, but it's not a strong projector, and the kind of scent also, again, it's a creamy, soft, sweet, woody scent that's very subdued. So I think it has this refined quality, but you know, I think because you're paying so much for it, I would want a little bit more lift from this fragrance. I mentioned in the beginning, there's really not a wow factor for me where, you know, you spray it once and I'm just blown away. I personally didn't get that from this fragrance. It's one that grows on you and you appreciate it, but I'm not sure that, you know, it's worth like the retail price of $525 for 100 ml. I got mine at $270 to $290 or so, which I thought was a good deal. But the thing is, and this takes me to the third downside, which is for the price, I think there are a lot of better alternatives for me. Specifically, when we're looking at the $290 range, like $300 range, the Raja Parfum Cologne line of fragrances are all, for me, better option than this one. You know, I like Elysium, Vetiver, Danger, Scandal less so for me. Yeah, and then of course Enigma, and they're all great. I think they're a little bit more interesting, and definitely, you know, Raja style is complex, right? It utilizes a lot of notes, a lot of layering. And so, that type of fragrance suits me more, and I think it's more worth the price tag. It also, has equal performance, if not better. It's labeled as parfum cologne. Whatever that means, it lasts all day for me. So, I think that's a better option. And I mentioned earlier on also, you have fragrances like Prada's Luna Rosa Black, which is like 1/10 of the price, and sort of, it might even get you more compliments, and it's also not a really strong projecting fragrance, but equally long lasting, and I think there's something a little bit more addictive sometimes about that scent. It's not necessarily worse than this, even though it's a lot cheaper. And so, it is quite an expensive fragrance. If you are collecting, I think you can get it, but I'm not sure. I do think that it's a little bit overhyped, from the standpoint of there's no real wow factor compared to what the asking price of this fragrance. So that's my opinion on Royal Oud. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.